Welcome to Quick Classroom Mysteries. You must be the new duty detectives. Let us see how well you can put your newfound skills to the test. You'll be working closely with our best detectives, Inspector Felix and Detective Atla. Because you are new detectives, we will need your help in the future. Subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of future cases. Now to the case. Inspector Felix excused himself from the crime scene and went to the local fuel station to pick up a coffee for Detective Atla and himself. Leaving the building, he put up his umbrella and picked his way carefully between the puddles that covered the curb. It had been raining for 5 days, and the weather person said to expect it for at least another week. Inspector Felix sighed as he felt a small trickle of water break through his umbrella and run down the back of his shirt. Taking his eyes off the sidewalk for just a moment, he stepped in an unusually large and deep puddle, leaving his shoes and socks completely drenched. Sighing, he shook off as much water off his foot as he could, though it was a pointless gesture. Entering the service station, Inspector Felix noticed how quiet and clean the shop was. Making his way towards the counter to order the coffees, he noticed he was leaving wet footprints on the ground where he walked. "Oh, sorry," he called out to the attendant. "Do you have a towel or mop I can use to wipe up the mess I've made coming in?" By this stage, Inspector Felix had reached the counter and took in a sight of the pale, scared young woman sitting behind the counter. "I'm so glad you are here," she explained. "I was just robbed." She broke down crying. "Sorry, I can't give you a towel or a mop either," she said, looking down. At this moment, Inspector Felix realized that the scared attendant was holding a small brown box. "They said it had a bomb in it, and if I took either of my hands off it, it would explode," the attendant explained. "I have just been sitting here waiting for help." Inspector Felix glanced at the box over the counter. It did not seem to be all that sinister looking, but Inspector Felix was also not a bomb expert either. "I am a police officer," Inspector Felix told her. "I will call the bomb squad to send a unit to come over immediately." "Can you tell me what happened?" he asked. "Sure. I was just standing here reading when these 3 guys in heavy coats came in. One had a gun, and he told me to open the cash register. We have been trained to always do as they ask in a robbery. The shop has insurance." Stifling a cry, the attendant continued. "One of the men asked me to hold the box. I was too scared to say no. After they got the money out of the register, they told me that it was a bomb. If I took my hands off to call for help or hit the silent alarm, it would explode. They only left like 2 minutes before you walked in. You might have even seen them. I'm so tired from standing. Can you find me a chair to sit on?" The attendant broke down crying. Inspector Felix went into the back room and found her a chair to sit on. As sirens began to draw closer, Inspector Felix asked, "Can you remember any distinguishing details about any of the suspects?" The attendant just shook her head and continued to cry. The first member of the bomb squad team burst into the door and slipped on the wet mess left by Inspector Felix. "Send in someone to clean up this mess," he barked at a junior officer, entering behind him. "We don't want anyone else slipping on this mess." The bomb squad officer muttered to himself as he straightened himself up and walked up to Inspector Felix. "What is going on here?" the bomb squad member asked Inspector Felix, motioning with a nod towards a small brown box. "We have an IED that she has been told will explode when she lets go. Once you get her free from the bomb, search her and her bag for the missing cash. She is the only thief here." How did Inspector know the attendant stole the money? Pause now to discuss as a class. Inspector Felix knew that the attendant had stolen the money because when he entered, he left wet shoe prints and drip marks on the clean, dry floor because it was raining outside. His prints were the only prints on the floor after he entered. You have been excellent detectives. We'll need your help in the future to help solve cases. Subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of future cases. Thanks for watching.